seasons in the Delaware and Lehigh valleys can mean snowy scenes of a white Christmas or a winter wonderland. But it can also mean blizzards and ice storms, dangerous conditions on the roads, and power outages from downed trees and poles.
It's like Armageddon.
So what will this winter bring? How much snow could we see? And from stocking up on salt to knowing what to keep in your car, how can you prepare? Tonight, get the answers from the team you trust. And join us as we take you behind the scenes with the Accuweather team. This is an Action News special, Preparing for Winter's Wrath, presented by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers. Now, here are meteorologists Cecily Tynan and Adam Joseph.
Hello and welcome to our Action News special, Preparing for Winter's Wrath.
Tonight, we'll show you the winter weather outlook for our region. We'll tell you how to stay safe whether you're driving in the snow or using a generator to power your home after a storm. And we'll take you behind the scenes to show you how the Accuweather team comes together to use cutting-edge technology to bring you the most accurate forecast in the region.
We'll also tell you how you can join the action and become part of our coverage when severe weather hits. But before we tell you how to deal with winter, let's take a look at what's coming our way. Here in the Delaware Valley, we can see just about everything during winter, from blizzard conditions to ice storms that can knock out power. But this year, there's one factor that could give us a clue about what the winter has in store. You've probably heard by now, we're in the midst of a very strong, near-record El Nino. So what is it? Well, typically, the east-to-west trade winds cause upwelling in the eastern Pacific, bringing cooler waters to the surface. But during El Nino, the trade winds ease and reverse. This allows the warmer water to move east toward the coast of South America. And this influences weather patterns around the world. Now, El Nino can clearly be seen on this graph of water temperatures in the eastern Pacific. Anything in orange is considered El Nino conditions. And you can see the water temperatures have steadily been climbing. We're now right here. We're at the peak, which is temperatures around 3 degrees Celsius above normal. Now, as we head through the winter, this is what is expected to happen. El Nino will weaken, but it's expected to continue right into late spring. So what does this mean for the U.S.? Well, the winter will be dominated by what's known as a split flow pattern. This does two things. It pushes the polar jet stream well north, allowing mild Pacific air to invade the U.S., and it really locks up the cold air to our north for much of the winter. Now, meantime, this intensifies the moisture supply along the southern jet, increasing the potential of storminess across the south right into the mid-Atlantic. However, with mild air, this will favor a lot of rain, not a lot of snow, at least early in the season. But there are signs that late in the winter, we will get shots of cold Arctic air. Now, if the cold air arrives at the same time as moisture from the south, the jet streams phase. They come together, this creates blocking, and this can produce some really big snowstorms. It's just all about timing this winter. And this active southern jet is great news for California, now in a 4-year drought. 97% of the state is under drought conditions, and this winter should help, but it won't completely alleviate the drought. But one good sign is the amount of snowpack in the Sierras. Last year, at this time, snow covered only 2.4% of the Sierras. This year, the snowpack is up to 54% covered. So that's really great news out in California. In the meantime, closer to home, this is what I expect this winter. The active southern jet will give us above normal precipitation, but December and January will be relatively mild, and that means many storms will either be all rain or quickly changing over to rain. However, things change in February. By February, it gets a lot colder, and we could get 1 to 2 big storms if the things line up, if we get that cold air from the north and the moisture from the south colliding. And breaking temperatures down month by month, I expect it will be a relatively warm December with temperatures running about 2.5 degrees above normal. January will still be mild, but not quite as warm, and February will bring shots of colder air running 1.5 degrees below normal, relatively cold, but not nearly as frigid as last February. Remember, that's when temperatures averaged nearly 10 degrees below normal. So as far as snowfall, we can expect a near normal winter with 20 to 24 inches of snow. But I have to admit, this is a low confidence forecast. Why? Well, if the El Nino pattern holds strong with mild Pacific air, it tilts it down that way. We could get as little as 12 inches. But if we get some strong late season blocking, it tilts the other way. That can create a very snowy winter with up to 32 inches of snow. So one thing is certain this winter. You'll need to stay tuned to the Accuweather forecast each night because things can change very quickly this winter.
And of course, the amount of precipitation we get this winter is only one part of the story. It's the type of precipitation that can make the biggest difference. And thanks to cutting-edge technology, Accuweather can track the changing forecast like never before. Here's a look at the amount of ground we can cover with Storm Tracker 6 Live double scan radar. You can see it shows us the skies above parts of 19 states and even part of Canada. And it gives us information you won't see on any other station in town. Here's David Murphy to explain the different types of weather we'll see and how we keep up with whatever Mother Nature brings.
Precipitation in clouds always starts out as tiny supercooled water droplets, but in the winter, it's cold enough up above the surface where those water droplets get together, crystallize, and become snowflakes, which start falling toward the ground. But it isn't always snow that winds up on your sidewalk. Here's why. We can get snow, sleet, or ice from a winter storm. It all depends on the location of cold air. For example, if the air is below freezing from the clouds all the way to the ground, we get snow. But sometimes there's a lower layer of warmer air next to the ground that's above freezing. In this case, the snow melts and turns to rain. But what if there's also a third layer of colder below freezing air beneath that warmer layer? In this tricky scenario, the snow melts, turns into raindrops, and those drops refreeze into ice pellets in that last cold layer. And that's when we get sleet. But now let's really complicate things. What if we have a deeper layer of that warm air, which is above freezing, all the way close to the ground, but the ground itself is below freezing? Look out for major headaches in this case. The snow melts into rain, then falls to the ground, but then hits that frozen surface, and bang, it instantly turns to ice. This is freezing rain. Freezing rain is easily the most dangerous form of winter precipitation for both drivers and pedestrians. It coats everything and can be impossible to detect until it's too late. Forecasting the type of precipitation we're going to get from a given storm can sometimes be tough around here because winter storms can produce a mix of warm air over parts of the region and cold air over other parts. And we can actually get all sorts of different types of precipitation from a single storm. That's where Storm Tracker 6 live double scan technology gives us and you an edge. Double scan technology allows us to look inside a complicated storm and see exactly where the dangerous mix of rain, snow, and ice is located. In this example, double scan shows snow to the north in white and a mix just to the south, highlighted in blue. But where exactly is the ice? For that, we turn to this double scan image. Notice how the northern portion of the region is highlighted in one shade of coloring, in this case sort of a purple. That's indicating that in these areas there is just one type of precipitation falling, and based on the other image we know it's snow. But what about this area highlighted in blue, which is typically where you see some of that sleet mixing in? Well, on double scan you can see a mix of different colors, pink, red, and yellow. This is telling us that there are indeed different forms of precipitation falling in here, and right in here is where the ice is at the worst. And because this is a live image, we can track it live for you and tell you exactly where the ice is headed next. All precipitation types are expected at some point this winter, and so the Action News weather team will be ready with Storm Tracker 6 and live double scan technology to track it for you.
Remember, in addition to our powerful Storm Tracker 6 live double scan that we use in every single newscast, there are other ways to stay informed about every kind of weather. You can download the 6ABC Storm Tracker app and check in anytime with 6abc.com. And we love to stay in touch with you around the clock on social media. In fact, I'm constantly striking up conversations with my 165,000 followers. Not only can we give you the latest Accuweather forecast, we also encourage you to share with us. Send us your pictures and videos of everything from winter storms to cloud formations or even a spectacular sunset. We regularly show off the best of what you send us during our forecasts. So when you take a picture or video of something special, email it to jointheaction@6abc.com or post them on social media using the hashtag 6abcaction. You can also find our entire weather team on their own social media pages, both on Facebook and Twitter. And of course, do not forget to like and follow our main 6ABC Action News Weather Facebook page to get breaking weather updates from the entire Accuweather team right in your newsfeed.
Still ahead, the storm hits and the power goes out. Before you turn on the generator to get your home up and running, hear what a local fire chief says you need to know to keep your family safe.
These are lifesavers.
and absolutely you need them.
That's an icy mix.
Plus, you've seen what it looks like when the Accuweather team tracks a storm. But up next, we'll give you a one-of-a-kind look behind the scenes at what it takes to bring that forecast to your home. This Action News special is presented by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers.
When a big storm is on the way, you can try to beat the crowds to stock up on bread, eggs, and milk. But once the storm hits, it can leave you trapped either in your home or on the road. At the PennDOT Operations Center in King of Prussia, they're checking more than 400 cameras in real time to watch for incidents and see if anyone needs help. They're reminding people not to drive during a storm if you don't have to. And if you do head out, remember that trying to pass a snowplow can be dangerous.
So when you see a plow change, just be patient, stay behind. You're going to have a much better road condition behind the trucks than you will in front of them.
PennDOT says drivers should keep ice scrapers and a small shovel in their cars during the winter. They also say a blanket is a good idea. And if you know snow is coming, make sure you have some non-perishable food and any medications you need. Staying home in a snowstorm can mean a play day for the kids. Of course, you'll need a good shovel to get through the winter. And while most people stock up on salt, there could be better choices. Check the labels to see which items work best at which temperatures. And don't forget to make sure it's safe for your pets. But depending on what's in the forecast, winter storms can also cause big damage and knock out power. In early February of 2014, we had one of the region's worst ice storms. We saw as much as a half-inch of ice in some parts of the area, and PECO reported more than 700,000 customers without power. It was their highest outage ever. It even took out the 6 ABC zoo balloon. If you do lose power, remember to check on your neighbors and don't assume your power company knows about the outage.
The more information that we have about power outages, the better we can dispatch crews to make sure that we're responding in a timely manner to help restore service.
Even with the best preparations, more than likely, we're going to lose power at some point. And many of us will turn to a generator like this to try to restore some kind of power. But there are many do's and don'ts the minute you hit that start button. For Windfire Chief Eamon Brazunas says the place to start with generator safety is the owner's manual.
We want to make sure that we're reading all the warnings, that we take a look at the manual, we read the manual, we understand, okay, how's this thing work? And make sure that we have the right fuel. We're doing everything we need to do from a safety standpoint when we buy the unit for our home.
Never cover a generator to try to muffle the loud noise it gives off. Always run generators outside and make sure the exhaust fumes can't enter your house. That means you should not use them in a garage, even if the door is open. The exhaust from a generator can get hot enough to start a fire, so it's important to keep your generator 5 to 10 feet away from the house.
That exhaust gets so hot, and even if you're walking by and you're not paying attention, it can actually burn your leg. Or obviously, if you put your hand close to it on that exhaust pipe, it's going to burn you.
Another reason the exhaust is dangerous? Carbon monoxide. The odorless, colorless gas can kill a person in minutes, so it's important to make sure you have a CO detector in your house.
We always stress to people, make sure we have the smoke detectors every bedroom, every floor of the home. But carbon monoxide, no different. These are lifesavers, and absolutely you need them, especially when we're working with the generator near the house.
And remember to use heavy-duty cords with 3 prongs, one of which is the grounding pin. That's important since the cord will likely be laying on the wet ground.
But I mean, this is really critical for outside. We're dealing with the elements, having that grounding device on there.
Once you turn the generator off, let it cool down before you refuel it or put it away. And never store the fuel inside your house.
No matter what kind of weather is heading our way, Action News is always here to help you prepare. But there's a lot more to presenting a forecast than just what you see on TV. Karen Rogers is here to give us a special peek behind the curtain to show you what it takes to make the Accuweather forecast you trust.
It's 4 a.m. and this is where we start. At the computer working on our weather graphics. David and I do this ourselves each morning, and we're forecasting a lot of rain, so it's going to be a busy day. Behind the scenes, we're working together as a team, especially when a big storm approaches, sharing our insights and interpretations of the latest computer models.
That looks like snow.
Okay, we worked on the forecast, the weather graphics. Now it's time to head into the studio. No one is allowed in here except for you. Come on.
Good morning. Here's your tap.
Once a big storm hits, it's all about nowcasting, telling you at home exactly what's happening every step of the way with live reports and constant weather and traffic updates. Details on that in your Accuweather forecast coming up. Commercial breaks aren't breaks at all. It's just 2 minutes to prepare for the next hit. We're in a commercial break, and now we're looking at Storm Tracker 6 Live double scan, looking at the street level view so we can do a mix of weather and traffic and show you exactly what it looks like on your street when you're coming into work.
And right now shows you that the current rain is still mainly to the west.
Even when we're not on the air, we are constantly updating the forecast. We do Facebook, we do digital, on air, and David's getting ready to do Taxi TV, and we do the radio. Follow me. People often say, I hear you do the weather on the radio. How do you do that when you're also on TV? Well, we have in our weather office a microphone right here, and at the click of a button, I can give you the forecast at home. It's going to be a rainy day. Grab that umbrella before you head out. During winter weather storms, we come on the air extra early so you know what's ahead. You know, I'm a Jersey girl. I have longer to drive. Set my clock for a little after midnight, which is great. And it's good when you're working so much. You work with people you like,
Yes,
right?
right.
David, tell them how much you like me.
Most of the time, we actually still like each other after hours of this.
Yeah, even during winter storms, we have our share of fun. It's the friendship and trust that defines our Accuweather team.
Still ahead, our region deals with all kinds of different weather, and the problems of one county can be totally different from what's happening somewhere else. When we come back, we head down the shore and up to the Poconos to see the specific challenges winter brings to each area.
Winter at the Jersey Shore doesn't mean nearly as much snow as it does for other parts of our region. Coastal areas average between 10 and 15 inches each winter compared to the 22 inches Philadelphia usually sees. But even though most people think storms on the beach mean something tropical like Superstorm Sandy, winter nor'easters can also be devastating to the area.
Wind-driven snow, it's beach erosion, it's heavy winds, and if the temperature's right, it could mean icing on the power lines combined with the heavy winds, and sometimes it can create a real mess down here.
That's especially true during strong El Nino winters like the one that's ahead of us this season. Back in 2010, which was only a moderate El Nino, the Jersey Shore was pounded by 3 separate nor'easters in the month of February. Combined, they dropped more than 2 feet of snow on top of the sand, and they brought winds that almost gusted to 70 miles per hour at times.
When you get snow events, you could have what looks like icebergs floating down the street because the flooding comes and it gets the snowbanks are floating around, and it's you get a double whammy.
After a summer of beach replenishment, winter came again and brought more problems. A storm in December of 2010 dropped 2 feet of snow on the beach and 61-mile-per-hour winds. Storms like that can cause major flooding. They also bring big waves that eat away beaches.
Storm surge can be devastating damage to properties, and that's why we want a large beach and a healthy dune system to basically take the hit from the storm.
Communities like Ocean City and Sea Isle City have been building up their dunes and replenishing their beaches to brace for whatever the season brings. It's all part of a federal project led by the Army Corps of Engineers. But even with all that help, local leaders are reminding homeowners to check in on their properties and make sure everything is hunkered down for the winter.
If you're a true fan of winter, the Poconos is the place to be. Even on a typical sunny day, it's usually 10 to 11 degrees cooler in the Poconos than in Philadelphia. That's because you lose 5.5 degrees in temperature for every 1,000 feet you climb. And while the city is just above sea level, parts of the Poconos are around 2,000 feet up in the atmosphere. And then, of course, there's the snow. The Poconos sees an average of 60 inches each winter, almost 3 times what we typically see in the city. And while all that snow can make life difficult for some parts of the Delaware and Lehigh valleys, in the Poconos, it means big business. They're already getting ready for the season at Blue Mountain, and they don't need a big storm to open for business. What they need more than anything is temperatures to hit 28 degrees.
We're not necessarily too concerned about the snowfall, the amount of snowfall we get. We're more concerned about the temperatures dropping, because that way we can make snow.
But they're also focused on what's called the wet bowl. It's a combination of the temperature and the humidity. The lower the humidity, the quicker water will freeze.
So the lower the humidity, the better it is for us to make snow.
Last year, Blue Mountain used almost 200 million gallons of water for snowmaking. That's about 10,000 times what it would take to fill your average swimming pool. Man-made snow tends to be wetter than what falls from the sky. That gives ski resorts a base for the rest of the season.
It'll help hold the snow to the ground, and then right before our skiers and boarders get here, we'll make some nice dry powder snow on top of it so they can enjoy it.
But Blue Mountain needs 3 feet of snow before it can open. That means they and other resorts have their fingers crossed that Mother Nature cooperates soon.
Whether it's on air or online, Action News is always on.
The Accuweather team is working together 24/7 to make sure you always know what's coming.
Whether it's sunny skies or drifting snow, we'll always help you prepare.
It's our commitment to you, our viewers. You can help.
Remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And don't forget to join the action.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.